Hello everyone, I hope you're having a good time. Today I'm going to talk about creative writing and if you should pursue it anyway. Mind you, this is only the first episode of an elaborate series, and mad props to Altamash Ahmed for suggesting this series down in the comment section. Yes, I actually incorporate your suggestions. If you have any trouble in following along, please switch on the captions to this video. Now, contrary to popular belief, not everything you churn out on a piece of paper is art. You don't need my word for it, just try writing yourself. Wait for a day at maximum and go back and to read it. Do you still like it? Big fat chance here that you're going to say no. That's okay because it happens with writers all the time. But sometimes you really don't want to write and you realize that you have been writing under peer pressure. Allow me to explain. Now, it's not necessary for you to succeed at creative writing. I have multiple friends who are not good at writing, but if you hand them over the tools of their craft, when they are going to blow your mind off. That's because art does not come in a one size fits all format. It can be vague, crude, and sometimes very unconventional. Here are a few reasons why one begins to write. Okay, I'm going to shut up for 10 seconds to give you enough time to read this through. Go on. Right. Now, which one of these sets is the correct set of reasons for writing? If you're anything like me, you will be tempted to say that the internal factors are better, but this is where it gets a little tricky. Let's go back to one of my favorite contemporary poets, Charles Bukowski. What is he saying? Pause the video and read the quote. Good. Now, some of you may have loved those lines, and others would have written them off as very impractical and romantic. This is exactly what I was getting at. This is the not so romantic side of writing. You may write from the heart, but sometimes your heart will be too broken or too lazy to write. That is never good when you're writing for a magazine and you have a deadline. You'll have to go through the motions. Similarly, you may end up talking about the same things over and over again if you're completely internally motivated. And that's all right. You're not getting old. Maybe the world is just too boring. On the other hand of the spectrum, writing only for the external factors may get you the bucks, but it will suck your soul out. Writing only for monetary gains and not for yourself means missing the entire essence of writing altogether, specifically creative writing. Here are a few stats about two of the world's most notable writers, Stephen King and George R. R. Martin. Now, while you're glazing over their details, you might be quick to assume that Stephen King is more successful than Martin. But you might also say that Martin is more recognized in the Gen Z pop culture because of Game of Thrones. Stephen is someone who works professionally and writes every day, whereas Martin believes that he writes when the inspiration hits him. But you know what the real kicker is? I haven't read any of the two. There, I said it. You're free to banish me now. But it's because I have read a very limited number of fictional books altogether. I have nothing against these two authors at all. This was just to dispel the myth that you will have to read a ton of fiction in order to write. That's not true. I am a non fiction fanboy, and I can still write creatively at times. How well? That remains a question to be answered by my audience. Why is that? How can you write something creatively when you're not accustomed to fiction? Well, look, I'm a psychology major. You'll have to deal with this in almost every other video. Let's look at Carl Jung's idea of the world here, and we'll then be able to understand the importance of an artist. So, this is the known world. This is the known world. Right here is the dream state, which I will explain in a moment because it is really hard to get it in a single go. And right here is the unknown. Right. So, the known world is what normal humans like you and I inhabit. The unknown is where it is too dangerous to venture. Now, here it comes. The dream state is filled with realizations we all have after observing the world around us, but none of us can put a finger on it, and hence it is never actually talked about. The dream state is filled with realizations which one can garner by noting the patterns around him. The artist lives here in this very dream state. And his job is to bring out the known but unsaid part of the world. Very few geniuses have gone over to the unknown side, and fewer still have made it back. When we begin to explain these patterns to the society, everything sort of clicks. It's like an aha moment for the audience, where they finally solve a piece of a massive cosmic puzzle. People argue that artists are worthless, but I say that artists produce the puzzle pieces with which we begin to shape our understanding of the world. And if you have any doubt about how far you can go when it comes to mapping patterns and being farsighted, well, you can always look at Huxley's Brave New World. Now, all right, guys, thank you for joining in. A big thanks to Mr. Faisal Ghazali for suggesting a lot of tips after watching the previous two videos. If you liked the video, try subscribing and liking and commenting. Is there something you want me to talk about? Do let me know. Episode 2 will be out soon as well. And besides that, I will be continuing my academic series as well. See you soon. Take care. Bye.